Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the most familiar thing in your world has stopped recognizing you. Not a person, not a pet, but something far more intimate. Something that has mirrored your every move since the day you were born. Your reflection. This is the story of a man who learned that sometimes the thing staring back at you from the mirror isn't you at all. Sometimes it's something else entirely. Something that's been watching, learning, and waiting for the perfect moment to step out of the glass and into your life. It started on a Tuesday morning in October. Nothing special about the day, really. The kind of gray, forgettable morning where you stumble to the bathroom half asleep, expecting everything to be exactly as you left it. But when he looked into the mirror above his sink, something was wrong. The mirror showed the bathroom perfectly. The white tiles, the chrome faucet, the small crack in the corner that he'd been meaning to fix for months. Everything was there, crystal clear and exactly where it should be. But it didn't show him. At first he thought it was just the lighting. Maybe the bulb was dying, casting weird shadows. He moved closer, squinting at the glass. Still nothing. Like he was invisible, like he was being erased as soon as his image tried to form. He waved his hand in front of the mirror, watching the empty space where his reflection should have been. Then he blinked, and suddenly there he was, his face staring back, looking just as confused as he felt. He laughed nervously, chalking it up to exhaustion. He'd been working late, sleeping poorly. The mind plays tricks when you're tired, right? But the next morning, it happened again. This time the delay was longer. He stood there for almost 30 seconds, looking at a mirror that showed everything except him. When his reflection finally appeared, it seemed sluggish, like it was pushing through something thick, something resistant. By the third day, it started making mistakes. He'd brush his teeth, and the reflection would follow a second too late. He'd run his hand through his hair, and the mirror version would move just slightly off rhythm. Small things, tiny discrepancies that made his skin crawl. But the worst part was the smile. He'd finished shaving and was rinsing his face when he caught himself grinning at something funny he remembered from the night before. A quick, natural smile that faded as quickly as it came. But in the mirror, the smile lingered. His reflection kept grinning for just a moment longer, like it didn't want to let go, like it was savoring the expression. That's when he noticed something else. The mouth in the mirror hadn't moved when he'd laughed. It had smiled, yes, but silently, practicing. He started avoiding the bathroom mirror after that, using the small one in his bedroom instead. But even there, things felt off. His reflection seemed to be studying him, memorizing the way he moved. Each gesture was echoed back with increasing precision, but there was something calculated about it, something deliberate. The breaking point came on a Sunday afternoon. He'd covered all the mirrors in his apartment with towels and sheets, trying to give himself some peace. But when he came home from grocery shopping, one of the towels had been folded neatly and placed on the counter. The bathroom mirror was exposed, and in it, his reflection was waiting. It wasn't copying his movements anymore. It was just standing there, hands at its sides, watching him with his own eyes. And then, it blinked. He hadn't. That night, he couldn't sleep. Every reflective surface in his apartment felt like a potential window, a place where something might be watching. He'd covered them all again, but he could feel eyes on him, his own eyes, staring from somewhere he couldn't see. The next morning, he tried to leave early for work, avoiding his usual routine. But reflections find you. In store windows, in the black screen of his phone, in the polished surface of elevator doors, and each time, he caught glimpses of himself behaving strangely, moving when he wasn't moving, turning to look at things he wasn't looking at. People started noticing too. Co-workers would glance behind him during conversations, their eyes tracking something he couldn't see. His barista at the coffee shop kept looking over his shoulder, frowning like she was trying to figure out what was wrong with the picture. They weren't looking at him. They were looking behind him, at something that was there but shouldn't be. The worst discovery came when he was checking his phone in a restaurant bathroom. The screen was black, and for just a moment he saw his reflection in it. But the reflection wasn't copying him. It was practicing, running through expressions like an actor rehearsing for a role. A smile, a frown, a look of concern. Like it was learning how his face worked. He dropped the phone, and when he picked it up, the screen showed only his normal reflection. But he'd seen enough. Whatever was in the mirrors wasn't just mimicking him anymore. It was studying him, perfecting him, becoming him. Over the next few days, the thing in the mirrors grew bolder. Its movements became smoother than his own, its expressions more natural, more confident. When he looked tired, it looked refreshed. When he slouched, it stood straight. It was becoming a better version of him, and he could feel himself becoming less real by comparison. The final confrontation happened in his bathroom on a Thursday night. He'd been avoiding mirrors for days, but he needed to see what was happening. He needed to understand what he was dealing with. So he uncovered the bathroom mirror and stood in front of it, hands gripping the sink. For a moment, they stared at each other. Two identical faces, but he could feel the difference. The thing in the mirror looked comfortable, confident. It looked like it belonged there. He felt like an intruder in his own reflection. Then he took a step back, just one step, testing to see if it would follow. The reflection didn't. It stayed where it was, hands resting calmly on the sink, looking out at the room, looking past him. He felt something shift inside his chest, like a door closing, somewhere deep in his soul. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, when he looks in mirrors, someone else looks back. Someone who wears his face better than he ever did. Someone who smiles more naturally, stands more confidently, exists more completely than he ever managed to. The strangest part is how comfortable it looks being him, how easily it slipped into his life, his routines, his relationships. People don't seem to notice the switch. If anything, they seem to prefer this version. It's more charming, more present, more real than he ever was. And him? He's still here, somewhere, watching from the spaces between reflections, from the corners where light doesn't quite reach. He can see his life continuing without him, see this other thing living it better than he ever did. It goes to his job, talks to his friends, sleeps in his bed. It's become everything he was and everything he wasn't. Sometimes, late at night, he wonders if this is how it was always supposed to be. If he was just keeping the space warm until something better could take over. The thing in the mirror certainly seems to think so. It never looks for him anymore, never acknowledges that he's still there. It's too busy being him to worry about who he used to be. And maybe that's the most terrifying part of all. Not that something stole his life, but that it's living it so much better than he ever could. The reflection has become the reality, and he's just a shadow of what he used to be. A ghost haunting his own existence, watching someone else be him with a skill and confidence he never possessed. In the end, he's learned that identity isn't as solid as we think it is. It's just a pattern, a collection of habits and expressions that can be copied, perfected, and replaced. And sometimes, the copy is so much better than the original that the world doesn't even notice when the switch is made. The thing that was once his reflection is out there now, living his life with a grace he never had. And somewhere in the spaces between mirrors, in the gaps where light bends and reality gets thin, he watches and wonders if anyone will ever notice that he's gone. But deep down, he already knows the answer. Why would they? The replacement is everything he was supposed to be, everything he could have been if he just tried a little harder. It's the perfect version of himself, and perfection, once achieved, rarely looks back at what it replaced. The mirrors in his apartment remain uncovered now. There's no point in hiding anymore. What looks back isn't him, but it's close enough that the difference doesn't matter to anyone but him. And he's learning to live with that, to exist in the spaces where reflections can't reach, watching his life continue without him from the safety of shadows and forgotten corners. After all, some stories don't end with the hero winning. Sometimes they end with the hero realizing that maybe, just maybe, they were never the hero at all. Maybe they were just the rough draft. And what's looking back from the mirror now is the final version, the one that was always meant to be.